Hello, everyone. My name's Cash Miller. I'm the host of Emerging Brands Franchises on the Rise. I'm also the CEO of Titan Media Worx. We're a podcast production company. Today, we're going to be talking property. I've got with me Karim Kerachni. He's with PropertyGuys.com. It is a real estate business. We're talking real estate, which, there's been a lot of changes in the market and stuff, and you want proven systems if you're thinking about getting into this space. Karim, it's great to have you on. Tell us a bit about yourself and, PropertyGuys.com. What do you guys, what is the business model?
That sounds great. Thank you, Cash. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very happy to be here. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone listening. This is Karim Kerachni with PropertyGuys.com. And indeed, so Property Guys, as you mentioned, it is a proven model that has existed for over 25 years now, since 1998. The idea, it's a disruptor in the real estate industry, basically a different way of buying and selling real estate, a way that allow people to keep the level of control they want in the process, and to save dozens of thousands of dollars in the process, because there is no commission. You can sell your house, can be $2 million property. You can sell it you can sell it for a one-time flat fee, because all the services provided by Property Guys are packages of services that are for a one-time flat fee and nothing more. And that one-time flat fee is usually in the 4, 5, 6 grand range, instead of 40, 50, 60 grand, as you know, in the traditional model. Those services, just to name a few, we're talking the photographer, the stager, appraiser, drone shots of your property, listing on the MLS, on all the platforms, the showings, writing the offer, the lawyer for the close. So really everything that you need to sell a property efficiently are included in this one-time flat fee packages. And so we operate from coast to coast, everywhere in Canada, in some states, in the US, and specifically my focus is on Massachusetts. So I'm in charge of franchise development in Massachusetts. So looking for franchisee that will grow under the umbrella of Property Guys. They will grow their own business, because the franchise is your own business, under the brand Property Guys, the model, the systems, and the ongoing support provided by the franchisor. And this way, bringing a lot of value and a lot of disruption to their local market.
So you've got a business model that, while you have an upfront fee, of course, everybody's got some sort of a franchise fee to get going, but you don't have ongoing royalties?
There are ongoing royalties. Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Like any franchise in this industry, there is a franchise fee to own your franchise, to acquire.
Okay.
The franchise, in this case, is an exclusive territory. It's a piece of the map where you're the only one. And then there is royalties on the revenue. Yeah, exactly. Just like
Okay.
any franchise model. In this case, it's 8% on the revenue. So I like to be super transparent about everything, because it is a really good opportunity. So better to be explicit.
So you guys have been around a little while. How many franchisees do you actually have operating? Because you're coast to coast, right? So, roughly.
So, yeah, that's a great question. At any given time, there is between 100 and 110 franchise. I don't know the exact number of this exact instant, but it's between 100 and 110. And we have a couple in the US and even in South Africa. We also open in South Africa. So we are expanding internationally. It is really a model that works in any type of market. We've made sure of it, as I said, over 25 years. It can be,
Okay, so let's like walk through the model, the business model itself. So if I was like looking to buy a franchise and, I'm going to operate, what does my day-to-day look like? I'm going out, I'm trying to find buyers, I'm trying to do, and sellers. Explain to us what that is that I'm going to be doing every day.
That's a great question. And there are multiple answers in that, because in a franchise, in a business, when you own your business, some business owners are more hands-on, some are more hands-off. Some focus, on the growth, other focus in the doing, being more involved with each individual client. But I'm going to try to give, a pretty vague answer. Let's say the focus of the franchisee is on business development, is on growing their brand locally in their territory, and bring more listings in the system. Franchisee work with an average of about 100 listings a year. Some are even upward of 150 listings. And if they are licensed, they also work with a similar number of buyers. So, they can be quite busy. Therefore, obviously, their day-to-day is not spent like a real estate agent dealing with each listing one by one from A to Z. It is a team effort, not only with the franchisee and potentially their team, but also with the franchisor that provides lots of services to the franchisee. So really
Okay.
to answer your question more narrowed down, it is growing the brand locally. So all type of marketing you can think of to grow their brand, not just their name as, hey, I'm John Smith, list your property with me, but no, use Property Guys. So the Property Guys colors and logo all over, social media and sponsoring the local football team, whatever it might be, networking and so on and so forth. And then if the franchisee is more hands-on, he can be dealing somewhat to a certain extent with each of his clients. For example, some franchisee want to do the photography themselves and the staging if they have those skills instead of having to delegate those services, and therefore, to keep a larger piece of the pie, a larger maximize their profit. Others are more focused on the numbers, reaching 150, 200 listings a year, and everything is delegated downstream.
Okay, so and then the franchisor, it has the ability to provide a lot of the services that a typical agent might have to go to multiple sources for.
That's correct. So the franchisor, to give you an example of the services provided, so when you buy in a franchise, you basically buy in a whole team that supports you. So amongst services, we provide marketing service, lead generation. We have a call center in-house that will take on calls from potential clients or potential sellers, as well as potential buyers. Say at any given time you have 10 to 15 listings in your area, you're not going to be able to take on all those calls of potential buyers yourself. So we have a team that take on those calls, qualify the buyers, send them to the mortgage specialist, the local mortgage specialist, for the loan officer, schedule the showings, all those things. Again, amongst others, the website and SEO. So a lot of those services are provided by the franchisor. But then the services that your clients need, those have to be local. And so for that, we actually signed exclusive partnerships with local professionals that we vet, that we choose, we handpick. So, a local real estate attorney, firm that with whom we have an exclusive partnership, all our listings from that franchise or franchises will go to that attorney, as an example, amongst others.
Okay. So, do you set up those kinds of local relationships after you bring, because I know you're going to have, if you're building out a territory, you're going to have different franchisees. You're going to have some areas where you're bringing on new people. You're going to have more established. So, are you tapping into relationships that you already have kind of set up within the state, since like you're in a certain, specific territory, or do they got to, kind of establish those relationships when they go into the market? When you bring on a new franchisee.
Yeah, you hit the nail in the head. That can be both. So part of my job, a side part of my job, it is actually to pre-select those professionals, and then depending on the type of professional, so the big partnerships like the real estate lawyer, the mortgage broker, maybe in some cases the real estate brokerage, local real estate brokerage. So those I pre-select them. And then we have the VP of partnerships, one of the co-founders, who's the one to give the approval for those professionals, because they are key in the well-being of the franchise. The smaller partnerships, like the photographer or the stager, for example, those I also do some pre-selecting because I do a lot of networking. I'm introduced to a lot of people in the industry, and then at the end of the day, the franchisee has the option to work with their own people. A lot of our franchisee come from the real estate industry, are real estate agents, mortgage brokers. So they already have their whole network and people that they've been working with for years. So they can bring their own people. But if they don't, because we also have franchisee that came from, nursing or teachers or whatnot, they don't have those connections, we can provide them for them. So it's really, again, case by case.
Well, that kind of leads me into like, is it better to be an established, agent, coming over into like this sort of system, or is it also suitable for people that are new to real estate because of the training and support you offer and, making them successful?
That's a very good question. Which one is better? Um, it really depends on who the person is. At the end of the day, I'm also trying to be a judge of character. If they have the drive, the energy, the passion for that venture and for the vision that we have for the model that we were doing, that's crucial. But I would say that yes, ideally, someone who comes from either entrepreneurship, business ownership, or the real estate industry are my favorite type of candidate, because they already have quite a bit of knowledge of the industry or business ownership. They have knowledge of the market. They might have some connections, and it actually doesn't really matter if they've been doing if they've been a real estate agent for 20, 30 years, and they are ready for change. Yes, they might have some some ways of doing that they're going to need to change, but then at the end of the day, they really see the value in doing things differently. They can they know all those clients that either were tired of having to pay commission, or constantly having to stand out from the crowd. It's a very overcrowded industry. In Massachusetts alone, in Eastern Mass, there is 27,000 agents that all have the same value proposition. They all do the same thing. So when you have an opportunity to stand out and do something that is drastically different, that brings a lot more value to your client, it's something that you want to jump into. Being one out of one, being the only one in your territory, not having to compete with other people in your brokerage is also pretty, very important. I mean, 30 to 50%, I would say, of your leads and clients will come organically, just from the brand recognition, from the word of mouth, repeat business, and so on. That's a key component of the success of franchisee. So to answer your question, in 2 words, I would say real estate agents are amongst our top candidates. Real estate professionals like mortgage brokers are the number two type of people that we're trying to target.
Yeah. So what stands helps PropertyGuys.com, stand out from all the other, not just franchisees, like because they have Remax and stuff, you have other, businesses in the space. Why, from a consumer's point of view? Okay, so if I was looking to sell my house, why would I want to go with you? Because that's like, it's kind of like, what's the advantage for the franchisee? So why do I pick PropertyGuys.com instead of my local Remax or Realty Executives or whatever? Like one of these other big brands that are already out there. Why do I go with Property Guys? To sell my house?
Yeah, so there might be two reasons. The number one I would give you is you're going to get the same result with a seamless and a smooth process, and you're going to save, again, depending on the value of your property, 15, 20, 30, 40 grand. This is not, a maybe or whatnot. You're going to save this amount of money because I'm not going to take any commission from you. What you pay is for the services that you get instead of paying
Hmm.
based on the value of your property. So the value of your property should stay in your pocket, but this industry has, I would say, preyed on consumers. And at the end of the day, I mean, it's quite unfair for two reasons. Sometimes you pay a very large commission for 3 days, 4 days of work from the agent. When it's a hot market, you just have to put a sign on your front lawn, and the property gets 20 offers. You still have to pay that commission, and you're wondering
You're
why.
right.
But also,
Yeah.
based on the value of your property, the agent will put more or less effort into selling your house. It's not really, it's not really fair. If they know they're going to make a better commission with your neighbor, they're probably going to spend a little bit more time and effort into helping your neighbor. So all of that to say, you're going to save a ton of money, but also for a non-negligible portion of the market, sometimes it's 2%, sometimes it's 5% of the market. Those are people, we call that for sale by owner or FISBO. Those are
Yeah.
people who already want to sell on their own for whatever reason. And often they just don't know how, or there is a lot of roadblocks in that, and we can help them also in doing so, allowing them to sell on their own, for
But
1,000 or two.
providing the services that they're going to need no matter what when they sell.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
And the
So,
advisory, the advisory service as well, the kind of the hand holding that they might need, or consultation.
okay, so you guys actually are poised to be able to take advantage of what might be some very significant changes that are coming about with the, in the real estate space. With the lawsuits and things that have gone on recently.
Mhm. With the lawsuit going on recently, yeah, absolutely. That, I feel like this is just a symptom of something that has been going on for a while. Besides the lawsuit that clearly shows that people are sick of this, this current model. You also we've seen over the past 5 to 10 years more and more discount brokerages. So brokerages that promote themselves as being, instead of being 5 or 6%, they are 4%, 3%, 2%, maybe
Yeah.
even 1%, like Redfin. But at the end of the day, PropertyGuys took the issue, at its root. And again, not recently. They've seen that issue 25 years ago, and they've been, doing very well since, because it is an issue that is in the whole model, how you see buying and selling in real estate. It's a model that made sense 100, 120 years ago, but it
Yeah.
needs to change at some point.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you
People
can
don't
buy
realize.
a three-story property for 100K back then.
Yeah, people don't realize how long, because the lawsuits are a bit about price collusion and stuff, keeping the rates high for the realtors and stuff for buying and selling, and they don't realize like that started actually back in like 1920 or something. Yeah, it was like ridiculous how long it's been going on, and finally, some different groups are fed up with it. Because that's kind of what I was thinking is when I started reading about it, because I'm like, okay, you could take a house that's $400,000 and yeah, you could sell really quick, but they're getting the commission on the sales price of the house. You might not even have enough equity, depending on how long you've owned that house, because they're not taking on
Exactly.
what you get, they're taking on the sales price of the house, not what
Exactly.
you take, home. So they could end up getting, depending on how long you own the house, more money than you got. Yeah,
Yeah,
and it's your property.
exactly. Yeah, and that's not fair. That's not fair.
Yeah, I agree. So you've got a model that tackles that. Now, so it's all based on, selling the services of getting the things done to move the house. So how does the franchisee, make money on each of the deals?
Yeah, so that's actually a great question, and that leads me to something else that I wanted to bring up. Sorry,
Sure.
my headphones are low battery. Can you still hear me well?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Yes, I'm so glad that you bring that up, because it's pretty straightforward. As I said, the main focus of the franchisee is on getting listings and selling those packages. You have to know that franchisee work on volume, as I mentioned, about 100 listings a year, and
Hmm.
so out of each of those packages, they usually make about 50% profit margin. So $5,000 per package, 100 listings, 100 packages per year, and 50%. That's the profit margin on the selling side of things. And just as a side note, the reason I'm saying 50%, at the end of the day, the franchisee builds those packages and prices those packages. So some services are always there, but from one franchise to another, some might offer 3D tours, 3D modeling of the property, or video tours of the property. Some side services included in the package. And anyways, and then they price the package. They can include 40%, 45%, 60% profit margin, depending on their market and so on. And then you also have the buying side of things, because for the longest time, PropertyGuys welcomed a non-licensed agent, or a real estate license to this day is not required to be a franchisee. But about 7 years ago, we actually opened a side brokerages called PGDR, PropertyGuys Direct Realty, which allowed franchisee to either get their license if they wanted to, or to come with their license as franchisee. And all of a sudden, they were able to work with buyers. They were able to hire agents instead of hiring salespeople. And so all of a sudden, they literally saw their profit and revenue, their revenue and profit doubling overnight, because all of a sudden you have these 100 listings, 100 sellers, maybe 50%, 40% of them also want to buy. And so they're going to stick with you. They just had such a good experience. So you have all of a sudden 40 or 50, buyers, and you get the
Mm-hmm.
commission by representing them. You also might have some potential buyers from those listings that are not represented, and they use you. So there is a whole range of new ways and stream of income for those franchisees. So those are the main two ways.
So it sounds like as a franchisee, you can do pretty well though once you get your feet. Once you get grounded, you start building up your listings and such. It is a volume game to some degree, but still, it's not like a ridiculous number of listings that you got to be able to do. Yeah.
No, exactly. We have many franchisees. Recently, we had a new franchisee who reached 50 listings in their first 6 months. If you follow, that's the cool thing with a franchise model. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's you know exactly how for you to be successful. If you follow the process, you follow the training and you do things the way it's been done for 25 years. Really,
Yeah.
you will be successful. There is no doubt in that. We have some some first year franchisee who reached 100 listings in their first year. Usually you reach 100 listings in your second year. And on top of that, it's very low overhead in the sense of you actually don't need to hire anyone, at least for the first year or two. And you don't need an office or a store or anything like that. So all those large expenses that businesses have, you don't have it. Your main expense is pretty much all type of marketing. I put all those expenses in the marketing, but beside that, it's a home-based business, so you can start making money really quick, or even less than that.
Wow, that's really solid. So okay, so let's talk about training then. If somebody signs up, because you mentioned licenses and stuff, what licensing requirements, if any, are they going to have? But also, what training are you, as the franchisor, going to put them through to prepare them?
Absolutely. So the training process is pretty simple. It's actually an award-winning training process. We received some awards for the training. It's in 3 phases. Once you've acquired your territory, there is first a 40 hours, 30 or 40 hours online that we've put together. Once that's done, you're invited at the headquarters, which is in Moncton, New Brunswick, just across the border from Maine, to meet with everyone, the CEO, all the executives, and the marketing team, the call center, and so on. And so that's 3 days of in-person training, and also really getting to see the company culture and getting to meet everyone. It's usually done with another handful or 2 handfuls of new franchisees that start at the same time as you. And then after that, you have 3 months of ongoing training while you're doing the work on the ground. So you're paired with a coach and another successful franchisee that will basically hold your hand step by step for the first 3 months of your business on the ground. So it's very thorough and comprehensive. It evolved over the years, but now that's what really has brought the most success and results for the new franchisee. And therefore, as we mentioned earlier, we absolutely welcome people who come from all types of backgrounds, and this might be their first entrepreneurship, their first business opportunity, and have knowledge in business and real estate. Yes, you are welcome if you have what it takes to be a business owner and entrepreneur. You know that very well, Cash. The drive, the tenacity, the ability to follow the steps and process. Certain skills in marketing, maybe social media, maybe sales. Combination of all of that is obviously very much valued.
Yeah, that's it's huge with any business, of course, that but franchises especially, because they have histories, there's established systems, and the thing that I keep hearing over and over, like, the most successful franchisees are the ones that follow the system as closely as possible, to make it work, and don't vary from it.
Absolutely, that's absolutely right. It's funny because you mentioned that very recently. I was talking to an ex or a former a very successful franchisee. She took her franchise from 6% to 52% market shares over the course of her being a franchise. Anyways,
Jeez.
and as we were discussing, I realized that I would not be a really good franchisee for that reason. I'm not good at following following process and systems. I'm more kind of a wild card, and I like doing my own thing. So it made me. So I'm really glad that I'm in franchise development, bringing this to a new market. The challenge that comes with that, and the risk also that comes with that. That's what really excites me more than following process. And obviously, it's a lot less risky to be a franchisee than what I do, but everyone is different.
Yeah, no, I say it's any kind of business ownership. There's a level of risk with it, and I say, but franchises themselves offer a chance to do things that you might really enjoy, have some experience with, but also it gives you a little bit of a safety net in a sense. You're going to make a significant investment, but you're not going to have to figure out every system that is going to be necessary to be successful. Yeah, and that's
Yeah,
really important.
yeah. And actually, you mentioned the significant investment. In this case, and again, because I like to be transparent, in this case in Massachusetts, currently it's between 35 and 40,000 to own a territory. So it's really not that much, relatively
No.
speaking. It will be more in the future. Often franchise are either the 6 or even 7 figures. So that's not the case here. However, what I often say, because I started my own business before, and it's been pretty successful. It's a cleaning company in Canada, which we opened to multiple locations and so on. I actually realized that it is often less costly to acquire an existing business or a franchise because all the costly mistakes that come from figuring things out, from trying to get a
Yep.
brand recognized and known and so on, all of that you don't have to do it. And I might have to crush the numbers someday between what I spent over the first few years growing my own business from scratch and how much it costs to own a business. I think it's a lot less, of an investment to acquire a franchise or an existing business.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. Like I say, having owned multiple businesses myself and am a current business owner, you're definitely spot on. And crunching those numbers, I can tell you there's definitely mistakes I've made that, if we were part of a franchise, may not have made. Because like I say, a lot of business is trial and error. That's just what it is. You try things, maybe they work out, maybe they don't. If they do, great, but you are going to make mistakes no matter what, and franchises help you avoid a bunch of those, at least the most expensive ones. You're still going to
Yeah.
make some mistakes, if you're hiring staff, you hire the wrong person, things like that. But, that's just common.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And also the economy of scale, as we were mentioning earlier, the service is provided by the franchisor to the franchise to all the franchisee. For example,
Mhm.
a marketing department like the one we have that provides, the designs, the templates, the also, the website and so on and so forth. All of that costs thousands of dollars ongoing
Yep.
when it's your own business. In this case, it doesn't.
Yeah.
That's another aspect. Even on the long run, it is cheaper to own a franchise than your own thing.
Yep. Yeah, you're right. There's a lot of investments that while you think you're paying I got to pay royalties and stuff, and I wouldn't have to do that. There's a lot of investments that those royalties and things that go into that you're not paying because it's a collective pool. That if you had to do it yourself, you wouldn't necessarily be able to afford it. So this has been great, Kareem. How would somebody that's interested in a PropertyGuys.com franchise, be able to get a hold of you?
So the easiest, I always say, Property Guys Massachusetts. If you Google Property Guys Massachusetts or Property Guys Franchise Massachusetts, you will find me. All the first links will be either my website or Property Guys website, which I also advise to check out because there are different type of resources. And to connect with me directly, you'll find my phone number and email very easily. But usually LinkedIn is the best way. With my name, Karim Kerachni, on LinkedIn, I'm the only one with that name. You'll find me easily, and we can engage in conversation about Property Guys and the opportunity, but not exclusively. We can talk entrepreneurship, business, and travels, whatever. I'm very approachable. Don't hesitate.
Okay. Well, it's been great having you on, Kareem. We've been talking guys.com. the real estate market is poised to be disrupted further no matter what. So it's companies like this that are already on the forefront of, what kind of changes are coming down no matter what. Like I said, there's been a lot of, litigation going on. A lot of the big realty companies that have been doing it a certain way and charging a lot of money for, people buying and selling houses, they're not going to be able to get that way anymore. It looks like, it's got some time to, play out, but, there's going to be a lot of changes, and it's companies like PropertyGuys.com that are already poised. They have models that are suitable for what's about to be the real estate landscape. So there's a big opportunity here. I really recommend you check them out. My name's Cash Miller. I'm the host of Emerging Brands. I'm also CEO of Titan Media Worx. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you on the next episode.